watching. I was born at the Assin. I think yeah. Some good at Bruno. That's put as I had to Bruno.
We are here. Yes. At the Slave River.
Okay.
So we are exploring still. Exploring and the other ones are also.
Benito, you are here.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations today?
I'm not sure. I'm really open to anything.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna
Alright.
be how to say this? It's gonna be a difficult one.
Okay.
Doggy! Let's go. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Yeah, man.
Magwana. Hey, nice camera.
Thank you. That is how that child is named from here. Where we are is Assin Manso ancestral graveyard and the slave market. The market extends all the way from part of the community through the stretch where we are all the way to the river. The whole of this section at the time of the tree were all part of the slave market. There were no structures like we have here today. It was totally a forest with a lot of trees and a lot of bamboos in here. Our ancestors who were brought to this market were brought from places such as Chad, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, through northern Ghana, through the Middle Belt. They walked barefooted like I'm standing this way, in chains and shackles, all the way from those places, passing through several forests and crossing several rivers, over 6 months until they got to the market here. Once they got into the market, they were chained to the trees and bamboos to be seen around all the way till we get to the river. They stay here sometimes for weeks or months to wait for the arrival of the merchants. The merchants were those Europeans who were coming from the three main castles to the market here: Cape Coast Castle, Elmina Castle, and Fort Amsterdam. They come here not with money, they come with certain commodities. So once we get to the river, we will get opportunity to talk more about those three activities. All the way from here, our ancestors had to walk in chains and shackles all the way till we get to the town. They are kept in there, no washroom, no ventilation, no lighting. They stay there sometimes for weeks or months. And when the ship is ready to move, they were taken through a door called the door of no return. The room in which they were staying, which was the dungeon, was where they would eat. That's where they would eat, and that was where they were sleeping as well. We can imagine being in a room where your fecal matter is located, with no windows, no proper ventilation in there. They take them through the door of no return, arrange them in ships, and from there sent into the New World to work on plantations: cotton plantation, tobacco plantation, and sugarcane plantation. For over 300 years, these trees thrived from the motherland here, supplying workforce to the various plantations in the New World. In the year 1998, something happened. Two of our ancestors who died out there, buried there, their remains were brought back to this community, a lady and a gentleman. Both of them were brought to the airport in Accra, taken by road till they got to a community called Abanze. Upon arrival there, the youth in the community came out to welcome the delegation. There used to be a fort there, that fort called Fort Amsterdam. That was one of the forts from which the merchants were coming from to the market here. So the youth knew about the activities of the trade. So they came out in their numbers to welcome those delegations. But they explained to the leaders that these individuals were taken through the ocean when they were sending them out to the New World. So now that you are bringing them back, we are very happy having them back home. But can we help you do it in a better way? So they used out of their own volition, donated canoes to the leaders so that they place the remains in it. All the way from Manso till they got to Cape Coast. Upon arrival,
One question, you said there were 2 people who came back?
no, they died there and their remains were brought back.
Brought back, okay.
Yeah, their remains were brought back in 1990.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, they were taken all the way till they got to Cape Coast Castle. They were taken through the door of no return. It was on that day that the name on the door came from door of no return to door of return. So once you get to Cape Coast this afternoon, you'll be told about the story of that castle. The places our ancestors were set in. The door of no return through which they were taken through to pack into the ship before sending them out there. They would tell
So
you-
because of this incident, the people died, that's why they changed the name to Door of Return.
No, those who died and were being brought back.
Yeah.
Because several people were taken through the door and sent out there.
Yeah.
But when the 2 were to be brought back,
Yeah.
that was when the name changed to door of return.
Of Return.
When you get to Cape Coast this afternoon, you'll be told about the door, and then they will mention the 2 remains that were brought back. We have those remains right here in the ancestral graveyard behind us. So we just found this. The very first one on my right, but your left, was a lady. Her name was Lady Crystal. Lady Crystal's remains were brought from Jamaica. The one in the middle is Samuel's Castle. Samuel Castle's remains were brought from United States of America. So America and then Jamaica. Both of them were brought here on the same day. They were the 2 remains that were taken through the door of no return, upon which the name changed from door of no return to door of return.
So they died actually in America and Jamaica.
In
They
Jamaica,
brought back.
exactly.
But why did those 2 being brought back?
So we wanted a way of connecting our loved ones in the new world to those of us in the motherland. And these individuals played critical roles, for which reason they were recognized by their own people, nominated to be that connection between those of us here. So Lady Crystal was taken to Jamaica as a young lady to do activities as a slave, but she never saw herself as a slave. So she resisted the activities of the raiders or the merchants who took her out there. Her final method of resistance was to decide that she wasn't going to eat. With that, she prefers dying than going through those activities as a slave. So they would put funnel in there, they chisel her teeth, place in funnel, and put out food in. Once they are gone, she opens up and then vomit everything. She kept doing that all the way till she finally died. Because you and I know we can't stay alive without food and be there for long. And people saw her as a hero because it takes a strong heart to be able to do that. She was sending a signal to those who took her there, and then the general or the complete world, that what was going on was not the right thing to be done to humankind. And people saw her as somebody who has done so much to put some level of consciousness in the rest of the people, that if we have the will to resist, truly we can be able to resist. So when the call came in that we wanted to bring some of the remains of our loved ones back home, the people in Jamaica thought she was the right person for that assignment. That was why they nominated her. So her remains were excavated and brought back to the community here. The one in the middle, which was Samuel Carson, was also taken to the United States as a slave. He joined the army before different forms of war over there. At the later part of his life, he became a civil rights advocate because he saw that what the whites can do, the blacks can even do more than that. So he went out there preaching the word of freedom for the black race. The people there saw him as an enemy of the public. The whites saw him as an enemy of the public. So when he died, he was just buried like any ordinary person. But looking at the kind of fights he fought for them, if he were to be a white man, they would have buried him in a better and a more dignified way. So when they called him, they think that this is our hero. We want him to go to Africa, the land of our ancestry. So that anytime we want to come back home, we can be able to come back and be able to find him and be able to pay homage to him. So these 2 remains were intentionally chosen by their own people within their community to be that representative to be brought back. And they chose this place on a purpose because this place was a market where several of our ancestors were auctioned off from before sent into the new world. And if you want a proper place to connect from, it's a place like this that we choose. That was why their remains were brought here and buried on their own land on 31st July 1998. The following day, which was August 1st, we celebrated a festival here called Emancipation. All the way from 1998 till now, every year, August 1st, we celebrate Emancipation.
August 1st.
It's like the same way you celebrate in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We celebrate on the same day.
We do that in 1st of July.
1st of July. Okay, so we celebrate that festival here every single year, where we get several of our loved ones from the New World coming back home to celebrate this festival with us. The third tomb is not of a single individual, it's a collection of remains that were brought back here in the year 2019. 2019 marked exactly 400 years after the first ship left the shores of Africa with black slaves. That ship left in the year 1619. So 2019, 1619, 400 years. January all the way to December 2019 was declared as the year of return, where we had several of our loved ones being brought back or came back home to go through some of these activities we are going through from here. The Prime Minister of Barbados was in Ghana as part of the 400 years celebration, which was the year of return. But when she was coming, she didn't come alone. They did an excavation in the slave cemetery in Barbados. The various remains they got from there were placed in a casket, flown all the way from Barbados to Ghana. And those remains are what we have in the third tomb over there. So that third tomb is not of a single person, it's a collection of remains that were brought here in 2019. The one in the middle, Samuel Carson, brought 98, and the third one, Lady Crystal, brought here from Jamaica in the year 98. That place is a sacred place for us, a place of paying homage and respect to our ancestors. So anytime you come back with the ashes of your loved ones, you know what you do? We allow you to bring it in. No letter writing, no protocol, just come in with the ashes. And when you bring it in, we give you opportunity to spread it around the graveyard to show that finally your loved ones are back home. As we speak, over 500 different ashes have been brought here over the years, and those who brought it in are allowed to spread it around the graveyard. What we do here, I call it an experience and not a tool. So once the experience is going on, in case there is any question, feel free, be able to ask, and I'll gladly answer you.
Earlier you mentioned Fort Amsterdam. Was it established by Dutch people or who?
I'm not too sure of the group that established it. That would be surprising if it was them.
Yeah.
Because there was a strong Dutch presence in the country during the days of the transatlantic slave.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can check it and be able to know the exact group that established it.
Thank you.
It's still a tourist site. People go there to go through the activities, to learn about how it started and the activities that happened from there.
Okay. Thank you.
The pictures on the wall are individuals who refer to as the freedom fighters. These are people who fought for the freedom of the black race. That is why we have their pictures on the wall as a reminder for the fight we fought to give us the freedom we are enjoying today. That explains why whenever you are passing through the door, you saw that the door was made shut. We do a bit of bowing before we step down. It was done on purpose, so that once we step down and we bow to the memory of our ancestors, and also to say thank you to them for every activity they play to give us the freedom we are enjoying from here to here. We're making a short walk from here to the river, but before we get there, I'll be talking about the wall we have behind us before we make the walk to the river. Once a question comes to mind, draw my attention, be able to ask, and I'll gladly answer whilst we make the walk to the river. The graves.
At the side.
What's the name?
The picture of
What's the name?
I don't know the name. I think the last one.
There is one on the corner like this. The name is not clear. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it might be the one, but actually I don't know. So we'll be making a short walk from here to the river in the next 5-6 minutes. We should be at the river of our ancestors. That river was where our ancestors had their very final bath on the motherland before they were auctioned. But behind me here is the memorial wall of return. Remember I made mention of the ashes that were brought here by different individuals to spread around. Management has been thinking about you, that those who come back alive, what are we doing for you? aside you bringing the ashes of your loved ones. That was why in the year 2007, management decided to erect this wall here as part of a project called the Joseph Project. So that once you get the opportunity to come back home, you get a chance to write your name on the wall to show that finally you are back home. As we speak, over the years, several individuals have been here, got a chance to write their names on the wall, both the front here and the back. Fortunately or unfortunately, today are all full. So we can't get the opportunity today to write our names. But it doesn't mean we are eliminating you. Management still is thinking about you. Very soon we'll be erecting extra walls where provision will be made, so that the next time you come in, you'll get the opportunity to write your name on the wall to show that finally you are back to the land of your ancestors. We'll be making a walk from here to the river. We are going to walk as free men and free women. Our ancestors never got that privilege. They walked barefooted, they were in chains and they were in shackles, passing through several forests, crossing several rivers till they got in here. In the year 2005, a group of diasporans were here from America, went to the river just like we are going there very soon, stepped into the water just the same way we are going to step into the water. Whilst they were there, one of them stepped on something. Out of curiosity, others joined him. They pulled it out and it was a chain and a metal candle. We have it in that box over there, so we'll be going close to have a look at it from here. Remember I made mention of the festival we celebrate here called Emancipation. Every year we celebrate emancipation from this community. Funding has always been part of the plan for the celebrations. So we have little initiative here where a donation board is placed here. When we are back from the river, as your way of supporting the community and also supporting the festival, you can be able to come and do your donations here as our way of supporting the festival. Even though you will not be around maybe at the time of the celebration, but if your money is in it, it's part of the recognition where you'll be tagged and you know that you were also part of those who funded that aspect of the festival from you. Please, let's make a walk to the chain. So this is the chain I was talking about that was found in the river in the year 2005. A group went there just like we are going there, and it was retrieved from the river. Once we get to the river, I'll be telling you about the sections from where these chains were retrieved from. Objects like this were what our ancestors were having on the outside. The chain connecting one person to the other, the metal cannot break between them, and you have to drag their feet on the ground. The path we are going to walk on was not created by us, it was created by the footsteps of our ancestors. The thousands of them that walked on that land by dragging their feet over several years. We try expanding the way so that once we are going through that path, it will be easy for us to walk on the land, giving us a better condition than what our ancestors went through in the roots of the tree, where there were a lot of roots, a lot of thorns, a lot of reptiles, and you have to step on all of that during the journey. I always walk on the land without my footwear, out of respect to my ancestors from here. In case any one of you want to make the journey with me to the river without your footsteps or your footwear, that is so much encouraged. We get the opportunity to remove our footwear here. We walk on the land to the river, it's not that far. Maximum 5 minutes, 6 minutes, we should be at the river. When we are back, there will be water in the calabash, where you get some of the water to wash your feet nicely. There is a leaf called seracin. Seracin leaf is in that water. It takes away negative energy. Some boil it and drink, and it heals the system. So once we are back, we'll get that water to wash our feet nicely before we continue with the journey. Please, let's make a walk.
Are we allowed to
It can't. Yes, you are allowed to. And they had this on their feet. Chains like this, sometimes around their waist, sometimes around their neck. And they had to walk with it from the day they are captured all the way till they get to the destination. It's a and it's on their feet, so they have to drag their feet on the ground with something like something like this, attached sometimes to their neck, sometimes to their waist, and sometimes joined to this, and they have it on their feet. So this was the original. It was found from the river. Yes, it's chained to their leg. Yes, and they have to walk with it. Sometimes to their neck, connecting to the next person ahead, to the next one ahead, all the way to the final person. So we'll be making the walk on the land. It's placed in between two individuals. You know there are holes in it from one side to the other. So it's in the middle and it's connecting one to the other. So that's all of our ancestors during the days of the trade were in support of the activity. Many of them were against it. They divide their own methods of resistance. Some communities were built uphill. Whilst our ancestors are up there, they can observe from below what is happening, who is climbing up there or who is descending. On occasion, they see people they suspect to be raiders. They have rocks placed at the top of the mountain. They are able to push those rocks downwards to go and crush those enemies who were coming to capture them. Beyond that, certain communities up north built walls, very thick clay walls around their communities, with holes at strategic locations, so that anytime they are to get out, they observe through those holes to see how safe the environment is. When you go up north today, most of those walls are broken, but some are still in existence. You go to a community called Nalerugu in the northeast region, they still have some of those walls standing. You go to a place like Gulu in the upper west region, they still have some of those walls still standing. And those places are tourist attractions where tourists are able to go to learn about the activities of the trade and also have first-hand experience seeing and touching the kind of walls our ancestors created around their communities as defense walls. Some communities also went and hid themselves in caves to take themselves away from the raiders. But when they are in the caves, they have plants that they planted around their exits. So anytime they are to get out, they observe those plants to see what the environment was telling them. You want to see the plants? Yeah. Have you seen these plants here before? How do you call it? Yeah. Oh, okay. So whenever it is touched, what happens? It closes. Yeah. Our ancestors were using it as secret motion sensor. So this is how they were doing with it. Whenever they had to get out of where they were hiding themselves, because they are not sure of what the environment was telling them, that's why they planted it in large quantities around their entrances. So when they get out and they see them close, that means someone was around. They are not sure who came around. Is it a friend, an enemy, a wild animal, a raider? Who came around? They are not sure. They wouldn't want to take chances. So when they see the plant close this way, they know the person who came around hasn't gone far. It's still within the vicinity. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes to open up. So if it is closed, meaning the person is still around. And because of that, they wouldn't be passing through that section. It is called Mimosa pudica. Mimosa pudica? Yes, it's called Mimosa pudica. But I prefer to call it the lifesaver plant because it saved the life of thousands of our ancestors during the days of the trade. What do you use this for? Oh, okay.
But we are calling it capri bamboo.
What
so close your.
It's your wrapper.
No, not your leg.
Your wrapper.
Your wrapper, yeah.
Oh, okay, so in tree we have a name similar
so
to
then
it.
they say when somebody is coming, you have to close
Your leg.
That's
Or what
what
is- In tree we have a name for it. Abrewa Kapauti. So like, old lady, cover yourself.
That's the same thing.
It's just the same
It's
thing.
the
Yes.
same.
Because this is what she said,
Yeah.
especially for women.
Women,
Exactly. They say
yes.
you should close because your mother-in-law is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so here it has a similar name in
And
tree.
actually a similar understanding as well. I go. I go. The response is Amen.
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 Yeah. Amen.
So we are finally at the ancestral river park. All the way from where we walked from till we got here were all part of the market. Our ancestors who were brought to this market were chained to the bamboos and trees we saw around all the way till we got in here. They will be chained here sometimes for weeks or months after they walked over 6 months to get here. First chained to the trees in the open, whether rain or shine, it was directly on them. They'll be here both day and night. To wait until the merchants come from 3 main castles to this market to get access to our ancestors from here. There were several slave markets spread across the continent here and more importantly in the country here. The largest and the busiest slave market in the whole of West Africa were located in Ghana. The largest slave market located up north in a community called Salaga, several miles away, about 400 miles away from here. And this market where you and I are this afternoon, known as Assin Manso slave market, used to be the busiest of all the slave markets in the whole of West Africa. When our ancestors were on the journey coming here, they were being fed every single day once until they get here. But upon arrival here, they fed them a bit better than how they were fed on their journey. Not because they loved them. It's because by the time they get here, many of them come in with a lot of debt, a lot of sweat and the rest on them. So when they are fed from here in that better manner, they are able to regain their lost energy. So that when they are done letting them have their bath and they have to be sold, they can get a better price from here. So the feeding was to fatten them up. When the raiders sensed that it's time for the merchants to come in, they brought our ancestors to this river. We have the town, and when you watch at the other side, you see the river flowing. The town section here is called John Assin and I prefer to call it the taxi that our ancestors had their very last bath on African soil from. The section that is flowing is called Nana Ama Enisa, but the locals here call it Ochi. Ochi means it's grass. Ochi. So our ancestors are brought into this river. They come in there not with sponge or soap. They come with this and they come with this. This is the back of the bamboo and this is the leaf of the bamboo. These items are very itchy on the skin. When it touches your skin, you have to scratch yourself for a very long period of time before you become normal, as in how you were before it touches you. But that was what they were using for their final bath. So the men will go into the river in barges. They will go as a group, still in chains and shackles, objects like what we saw there. They step in there, they use this to bath. When they are done with the bath, they come outside, the women will go in there, using the same kind of items to wash off the dirt, the sweat, and the menstrual fluids on their skin. Because during the journey, the women were not given any special attention. They went through the journey just like the way the young men also went through the journey. So when they are all done with the bath, they are arranged outside in the open space here, so that the water on their skin will dry. They apply shea butter on their body for them to look fresh and shiny. They use a tool called a speculum oris. They place it in their mouth, force it open, so that they can count the number of teeth they have. That gives them an idea of their ages, because those who were brought here were of different age groups. Young men, young women, and sometimes children. So by arranging them that way, counting their teeth, we have an idea of their ages. They will be grouped according to their ages after that activity. Many of the young men who got in here because of the long distance came in here with very bushy hair, very bushy beard. They use sharp objects, sometimes broken mirror, to shave off the hair and also to shave off the beard. All of this is done under the watch of the readers to put these individuals in good shape, so that when they are to be sold off, they will get a better price from here. This is where they had their final bath, and they never had any bath anywhere else until they get to the New World. On very few occasions, when they get to the castles, they are raped by the merchants. The women are raped by the merchants, and sometimes the soldiers in that mess from the castle. So on occasion, they want to rape any of the young ladies. They look through them, select the beautiful ones, force them to wash off the dirt and the sweat and the bad clothes on their skin, for them to look attractive and presentable. They go to have an affair with them. From then, they bring them back to join their colleagues in the dungeon. There are even sometimes punishment for those young ladies who will not want to go and have anything to do with the Europeans from there. They are sometimes lashed, they are put in very harsh conditions to serve as a deterrent to the rest of them, so that anytime they are called upon to come and then have an affair with the Europeans, they will not be able to resist. This river, right behind me here, is the last Bath River. This is the final point of bath for our ancestors before they were sent into the New World. This is a pictorial of our ancestors in the river, having that very final bath on the motherland. In this condition, still in the river, they have the chains around their neck. Sometimes the kind of chains we saw over there around their waist, and other times around their feet, with the metal cannons attached to their feet to keep them grounded. After this activity, they are now ready to be sent to the market, and then they are auctioned off from there. Any question before we go to that section? This is not actually a look at this big so it's a river on its own. It comes all the way from this direction to join the flow. It doesn't flow. It flows. But when you look at it from the surface, you don't see fluid. It flows very slowly. But right after raining, when you come here right after raining, you see this one with a different color. The one flowing also with a different color. And they move as two different rivers all the way till they get to the tango before you see them fading into one another. So they are different rivers.
But why they particularly choose that part?
So if you observe, this section is flowing, and because it's flowing, when we are in the rainy season proper, it flows very fast, and it can get them drowned. So they don't want them to be drowned, that's why they bring them to this side. This side is calm. So when they stand in there, they can wash themselves well, go through the preparations before they are sent to the market.
So basically they come from up to this one.
So they come basically from this direction. They bring them to the market, they chain them to the trees and bamboo, they wait. Then when the merchants are to come in, they bring them to the river. The raiders will bring them to the river. They bath, they take them to the market, they sell, they brand them, and then they take them to the new world. So when they are going, they walk on the path we walked on when we were coming, all the way to the castle, kept in the dungeons, and then sent into the new world. Any other question before we go?
But she wanted to know because you know the story also that slaves have been sold also by their own people. So how will they enforce? Are they also the one bringing them here, or will the European? I'm just asking. It's a history. We cannot do anything about it anymore. But will most of the time the European involved in picking them from the hinterland, bringing them here, or?
Very good question. Very good question. There are 3 different or more scenarios, but the most common ones are these 3 I'm going to mention. The first one is that before the Europeans got in, our ancestors were fighting territorial war. During the Great Migration, where they were moving from one place to the other in search of resources, good land, good water, and then conducive environment for them to farm and then to do their activities.
Because it was normal around that time.
At that time. So during the Great Migrations, when they get to a community, those with the land want to protect what they have. And those who are coming in want to get access, so they fought among themselves for territorial dominance. So the group that will win will take possession of those they won over. Those they won over were the ones when the trade started. They were some of the people that were sold off to these nations. The victims of war.
Yeah,
Then later on, when the Europeans started coming in, the Portuguese came to a community called Elmina. When they got there, that was not the name of the community. The name was Manso, irresourcible water. Now when they got there, because of the volume of minerals they found around, they called the place the mine.
So is it still called Elmina?
It's still called Elmina.
And why the government didn't change the name?
No, so the original name was Almina, but they saw the place with a lot of minerals, so they called the place Almina. It was Anumans, and then they called it Almina. That name was corrupted into Elmina, and that has been the name of the community after this. But the locals still call their town Anumans. There are even facilities in town, like restaurants and hotels in town, that are still called Anumans Hotel and the rest. They still mention the original name, but the name that was given to it has been the like administrative name that has still remained. So to trade in gold, ivory, pepper, and other spices. Then 1482, they built their first castle over there. So the Elmina Castle actually is the oldest castle in Ghana. That was built by the Portuguese. They stayed there and traded with our ancestors. So the 16th century, when they got access to the Americas, when they got in there, people were living on that land as well, known as the Red Indians. So they took the land from them by force, just like the territorial wars that our ancestors were fighting from here. They established their plantations there. Those who are supposed to work on the farms are dying in their numbers because of a disease called smallpox. So they needed extra manpower. Based on the recommendation of a Roman Catholic priest called Bartholomew de las Casas, he suggested to his people that back in Africa, they will get young men and women who can do that work. So they came in.
We got that story.
That story as well. So they came in and then convinced our ancestors that these people you got out of war are your enemies. You keep them so close to you, they marry your children, they own property, they give them. One day they want their freedom and they will fight against you. So give them to us. We will take them across the ocean. They will help us. And then in return, we'll give you more gunpowder and other things, so that you can fight more wars and be able to extend your territory.
So they exploited.
They exploited our ancestors using those commodities and making them look like it's a beneficial thing to both sides. So when the Portuguese took these captives there, they made a lot of riches because they were well built, very energetic, and they did a lot of work. Now other Europeans took notice and also started to come home and get access to these same gains that the Portuguese were making. So there were the Dutch, the Danes, the Swedes, the Germans, the French, the British. They all came in, they built several forts and castles, stayed there.
So even Danish was involved.
Danish was involved. The Spanish were here, the Dutch were here, the British were here. The British were the final ones that left before we got our independence. Now the numbers have increased. How were they going to get the cattle? That was what pushed them into convincing people. I always say within all of us, there is some level of greediness in us. But there are certain people who will show their greediness the very first minute you meet them. So they were able to identify those kind of people, influence them to go and capture people. So the second group of people that were brought in were victims that were captured by the raiders. Then when the trade went on, when they get to the market, the raiders were being cheated by the merchants. So some of them decided not to give the individuals they brought to certain Europeans from here. Out of anger, those Europeans took their gunpowder, their chains, went into communities and also raid. So these are the three main methods through which captives were gotten, brought to the market, and shipped out into the new world.
So basically, yeah, with every commodity, if there is a market for it,
people will be interested in going
people
into
will
it.
be interested in going into the trade and benefit from it.
That was
It's
what
simple.
also even made the trade to last for as many as more than 300 years. Because certain people were benefiting, and out of greed, they don't want to stop the game. So when the world was even calling that this game is not a good thing, let us stop it, because somebody is gaining and benefiting, he has got his ears, he doesn't even want to hear. So these are the main methods through which captives were gotten.
You've mentioned something about the West Indian. You meant in Africa or in
In the
South
Americas.
okay.
In the Americas.
Because
So
I was thinking,
yeah, so when they got there, those Red Indians were already living on that land, just like the Africans were living on their land here. These Europeans went into that place, got the land by force, and established their plantations. So through the triangular trade, they come to Africa, they get the captives from here, they send them to the Americas, they work on the plantation, the produce they get, they send it to Europe, they process it into finished goods, bring it to Africa, and exchange to get more captives from here. That trade was known as the triangular trade. So,
can you tell us more? Do you know more about the Dutch, the part they play
So
in
Dutch,
the slavery?
yes, Dutch
Can you
were
get more
here
in
for
depth?
a very long time. They built a lot of forts and castles. They stayed here. They also bought captives. They went into communities. They also raided. They had slave markets that they operated. So Dutch actually played a lot of role, just like the Portuguese and the rest of the Europeans. The Dutch did a lot of that from here as well.
When we go to the castle, the guys are going to tell us about the part
The parts of that as well. And the castles that were built by various European groups were exchanged from one hand to the other as well. The Dutch had a lot of influence when they came into the country here. So when you go to the various castles as well, you'll be told about the activities. And most of the activities actually were very brutal. The activities were very brutal on the motherland. Even though they stayed for quite a period of time, but they did a lot of harm as well within the land. Please, we make a walk to that section and then we talk about the sales itself. So after our ancestors are done with the last Passover day, for them to get themselves, for them to get themselves cleaned up, prepared, their hair shaved and all of that, they arrange them this way according to their ages. The merchants who come into the market were not with money, they came with items such as gunpowder, sugar, mirror, beads, gin, tobacco and the rest. So they come to auction our ancestors from here, look through them, select those who are well-built and energetic. They did auction from this particular market where they exchange these individuals with the European commodities I mentioned earlier. Once they get access to the commodities, the raiders will give the captives they brought to the market here to the merchants through an act called the auction. The first of its kind on district happens from here. I keep saying district because this is not the only place the trade happens from. All the way from Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, across the coastal areas to Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon and the rest. Several individuals were captured from here and sent into the New World. Many of them as well were brought from Chad, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, through northern Ghana to the Middle Belt and brought here. Several other slave markets were spread around, but I am talking about the ones that passed through here. So the first auction on this trade happened from this community. At the days of the trade, the merchants were not going beyond this river. This was their last stop. The raiders would bring the captives here, give it to the merchants, and they also give the captives the European commodities they brought here. The strong ones will be bought from here, so they check their teeth to see how strong they are. They are checked their body weight to be sure that these people are well built and energetic. Because from here till they get to the castle, they will be walking. Again, just like they walk to get here. And when they get to the castle, they will put them in the dungeons, and from there they will go into the New World to go and work on plantations. So they were here for only the strong ones. The weaker ones were rejected.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, okay.
The weaker ones were rejected. Those individuals who were rejected from here were shot, killed, dumped in the Captives River, or dumped in the bamboo plantation. It's only the strong ones who made it to the New World.
So it was not like that if you're not selected that you would be free then.
No. So on very few occasions, on occasions where they bring many people and they're able to sell the majority part of them, the very few ones that were left, on very few occasions they had mercy on those ones. But most of the time they were shot and killed from here. And those who will be left from here, they take them from the chain. After the chain, they leave them in the open street. Not even because they love them and want them alive. They know these individuals are weak and they will definitely be dying. So they leave them in the open market here. When the raiders are gone, the merchants are also gone. There was already a town here called Assin, Manso. But because of the tools or the weapons the merchants and the raiders were having, they couldn't come one-on-one to them and fight them. So they hang around. When they see that the merchants and the raiders are gone, they come into the market. Out of compassion, they look through those who were left here. Those who have signs of surviving, they take them into the town. They look after them. When the person survives, the person becomes part of the family that comes to take them from here. But the truth is that the greater portion of them were shot, killed, dumped in the river, or dumped in the bamboo plantation. Those who were bought from here will now be branded. These Europeans came to meet our ancestors in this market. They had their names, but they never got the opportunity to ask them what was your name. They rather chose to give them their own identification. They placed metals into fire. Red hot, they used that metal to make marks on the skins of our ancestors. Either on the bare back, sometimes on the chest, sometimes on the shoulder, other times on the forehead. Very hot metals were placed in their bodies to make those marks. The act of putting the mark on them is called the branding. That is what they are doing to the young men on the board over there. So these are the activities that happen from here. The last bath, the first auction, and the first branding. We always want our loved ones from the New World coming back to the motherland to have a contact with the water of our ancestors. We're making a short walk there. When we step in there, it's going to be personal connections with our ancestors, nature, and then the river from here. It's not binding, as I always say. When we get there, those who want to step in, you can step into the water. You're able to use the water to cleanse yourself. It's a place for prayer, a place for meditation, a place for thanksgiving, a place for making of wishes. All of this, when we step in it, the one that your heart touches you to do from here, you are able to do that. You can hold hands while you are in the river with whoever you want to hold hands with. You are able to bless one another. You say positive words to one another. Let our ancestors who died several years ago know that we are back home and we are here to connect with them. It's a place that is sacred. So when we step there, depending on everybody and their belief system, you're able to step into the water and you're able to connect from there. In case you want to make a wish, you have a coin with you, you say your wish on the coin, pass at the river, you drop the coin into the river. In case you want to fetch any of the water to go out with, that is allowed. You want to take pictures around, that as well is allowed. And then when we are done, I'll suggest a couple of places we can get nice pictures from, all the way till we get to the park, and then we conclude from there. In case there is any question as well, feel free to be able to ask before we make the walk to the river of our ancestors. Any question before we go? Any question? No question. So let's make a walk to the river. When you look at the other side, it is painted black. demarcated as the last bath. But the first bath of return is printed point. We use colors in communication, as I said earlier, red and black when we are mourning, and we use white. So some can step in here.
Man.
Some can also come in here. So whilst there are spaces around, you can step in. Don't go through all of that. So you can just step in the water and do your thing. Don't go too far. So let's step in wherever you want to step, and then we are going to do our prayers from here. We are going to do our meditations, making up our wishes. All of that can be done from here. You can hold hands
Vamos ter que sair e essa vai ter essa
back home, and we are here in that state, free humans. We are not here as captives, we are not here as slaves. With my staff who langa kufa maitaki ifuna sanya la iske go you see au sama nende tekene nende keti nende pinacha dona yune to kuetanga ja pedenja na itida to kula de fene walo sani au fufu de bakai ke fade me fufu masana fu meke uteke meke atamfu da uchaye konya ukonde uchaye konya upesi mekede sabita ki waka ko ya se kutamfu de ko meke fu to adendo anga u mekede sabita ki jamamboko de betayugwe mankuko ya baka le jamamboko awanijo wani majapoi wani majapoi
What are you I'm so because of the Galambira Falcala.
No, we don't have that.
Okay, so it's rather flows down to them.
No, so those places they give them. So our section is
Okay.
So this is the next one. Come have a look.
Okay.
See how clear it is?
Yeah.
That's the original
color. Okay.
Happy that you are here. So let's bless ourselves whilst we are in the river. We are in the river of our ancestors. So you give some of the list to grandma, and then she's also able to bless all of us from here that way. So please, you can come closer. Grandma is going to bless us from here. Business and yeah.
I'm my boy.
Yeah.
But I was not a man.
Yeah, too.
You want to put Yes, I don't care if you come out of a bomb. The following who will now taken Chinese prayer, but I'm also coming to Allah saw what you do. I'm a commentator. Allah
So after walking on the land of our ancestors, stepping into the water, being blessed by each other from here, look up there is a message for us. Let's come closer and have a better look at it.
We are back home.
We are back home. This is a message welcoming us back to the land of our ancestors. Back to this land where they had their very final bath before they were auctioned off. Going back to the river, back to the park, is going to be conversational. This is one place I would suggest we get a picture from. Standing in the water as well, we can get a picture from there. And the other section, the last bath, when we get to the small room before the schoolroom, there, we can take pictures all the way to the park where we finally bring the whole experience to one end. So wherever you see and you think you need pictures from there, taking of pictures is free. Feel free and be able to take.
No, because you have to
Every one of you for coming in here, going through the experience with us, and also for choosing Ghana, Assin Manso, coming here to do these experiences. I always say thank you because I know it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money and a lot of resources to be able to make this journey here. So whenever you come in, I always say thank you for heeding to the call of our ancestors, respecting that call and deciding to come in here. Thank you, and I wish you all the best from here to the various places you'll be visiting, all the way till finally you get to your final location. This is home, so feel free to come anytime the time is ready and the resources are ready. Come in, go through the country, explore, and be able to make your own connection from here. To the younger ones, this is home. Whenever you come in, don't just come as strangers, come as indigenous, come as locals. Look out for opportunities. The one that fits your area, be able to go in there. Look for it. Your guys that came with you know the country inside out. Discuss with them what you see. Let them give you advice on how you can take advantages of those things, so that the Caucasians will not benefit during the day slave trade era and still benefit today and tell you that Africa is a wrong place for you to invest. If it is a wrong place, we don't know why they are here. But when you go to the airport, I'm sure you saw several of them there. What are they doing here? So if you let them tell you not to come to Africa because Africa is a bad place, you are cheating yourself from all the fun. When you have opportunities for voluntary activities, come to Ghana, come to Africa, explore, get to places, give out your knowledge from there, and our ancestors will be happy that finally you've not rejected home, you came back and you make an impact. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. From here till you get your destination. Tell loved ones that home is calling. They should come as many times as possible. And I'm always here to guide them. Thank you very much. I wish you. When we get ahead, there will be water for us. Where our food is nicely, and then we're able to continue from here. Thank you.
There is a message up here as well. Emancipate yourself from mental
Thank you.
And the fruit of it, you don't eat it? The better lemon itself?
How do you eat it?
We eat it raw, we cook it like
Raw, or you
vegetables.
cook
We cook it.
The seed itself.
No, it has...
I know the bitter lemon.